Welcome to Echoes of Africa, where hidden stories, bold voices, and untold truths rise from the heart of the continent. Before you dive in, hit subscribe and turn on the bell, because every echo here reveals the Africa they don't want you to see. Under Africa's surface lies a continuous source of power that does not depend on rain, wind, sunlight, imported fuel, or global supply chains. It runs day and night, year after year, regardless of climate shocks or geopolitical crises. This power is geothermal energy, generated by the heat of the Earth itself, and Africa holds one of the largest concentrations of it anywhere in the world. For decades, the global conversation framed Africa as energy poor and dependent. Power shortages, fuel imports, and unreliable grids dominated the narrative. Yet beneath that narrative sat a geological reality that contradicted it entirely. Massive tectonic formations stretching across eastern and southern Africa place extreme heat unusually close to the surface. In energy terms, this is a rare advantage. Few regions on Earth can access geothermal resources at comparable scale. Geothermal energy differs from other renewables in a fundamental way. It provides baseload power. Electricity is produced continuously, not intermittently. There are no peaks only when the sun shines or the wind blows. Once operational, geothermal plants can run for 30 to 50 years with predictable output and stable costs. In a world struggling with energy volatility, this stability carries enormous value. Energy analysts estimate that Africa's geothermal capacity could exceed 40 gigawatts, translating into long-term electricity production worth well over $1 trillion. Despite this, less than a small fraction of this potential has been developed. The resource remained underground, not because it was unknown, but because it was overlooked. The East African Rift is the core of this opportunity. It is one of the few places on the planet where tectonic plates are actively separating, allowing heat from deep within the Earth to rise closer to the surface. This creates natural reservoirs of steam and superheated water capable of driving turbines on an industrial scale. These systems are measurable, predictable, and renewable if managed correctly. Countries along this rift sit on energy reserves that many industrialized nations do not possess. In several locations, geothermal wells require shallower drilling than similar projects elsewhere, lowering long-term operating costs once exploration is complete. The challenge has never been resource availability. The challenge has been risk. Geothermal exploration is capital-intensive at the start. Each exploratory well can cost several $1 million, and success is not guaranteed. If a well fails to deliver sufficient heat or pressure, the investment is lost. For private investors focused on short-term returns, this risk has historically been unacceptable. As a result, global capital flowed elsewhere, often into fuels or energy systems with greater long-term volatility but lower upfront uncertainty. This left Africa in a contradictory position. The continent had one of the world's most reliable clean energy sources, yet remained among the least electrified regions. Power shortages slowed industrial growth. Fuel imports drained foreign currency reserves. Electricity prices fluctuated with global markets. The turning point came when public institutions and governments recognized that geothermal risk could be managed structurally rather than ignored. By sharing early-stage exploration risk through guarantees and public financing, they changed the investment equation. Once steam was proven, private investors entered confidently. The underground resource did not change. The financial logic did. Kenya demonstrates how transformative this shift can be. Over the past 2 decades, geothermal energy steadily replaced fossil fuels and unstable hydropower in the national grid. Today, geothermal supplies a major share of Kenya's electricity, providing consistent output even during droughts that cripple hydropower-based systems. Industrial users benefit from stable pricing. Power outages have decreased. Long-term planning has become possible. Kenya's experience challenges assumptions about where energy leadership comes from. This transition did not require extraordinary wealth or cutting-edge imports. It required geological understanding, institutional commitment, and patience. The outcome is one of the most reliable power systems in the region. Elsewhere in East Africa, similar resources sit largely untapped. Ethiopia alone holds geothermal potential capable of powering not just its domestic economy, but neighboring countries as well. The implications extend beyond electricity. Reliable power catalyzes manufacturing, data infrastructure, and regional trade. Energy exporters gain leverage. Energy importers gain stability. For years, political uncertainty and investment caution slowed progress. Yet geothermal energy itself offers a stabilizing force. Industrial employment, predictable power supply, and reduced fuel import dependence can strengthen economic resilience. As projects advance, the balance of regional energy dynamics begins to shift. This has not gone unnoticed internationally. As global energy systems confront climate mandates, geopolitical risk, and supply volatility, attention has turned toward resources that offer reliability without emissions. African geothermal energy sits directly at this intersection. The United States has quietly expanded technical assistance, training, and financing support for geothermal development across East Africa. From a strategic standpoint, supporting geothermal aligns with long-term climate goals while fostering stable energy partners. The approach emphasizes capacity building, regulatory frameworks, and risk mitigation. China's involvement follows a different model. Chinese firms offer drilling services, financing packages, and rapid project execution. Their cost competitiveness allows them to move quickly in emerging markets. This has introduced a new dimension of competition beneath African soil, where energy development intersects with global influence. This competition is not centered on ideology alone. It is about supply chains, technology standards, long-term power purchase agreements, and strategic presence in the clean energy economy. Africa is no longer on the sidelines of this transition. It is one of its focal points. Beyond geopolitics, geothermal energy directly affects national sovereignty. Fuel imports account for billions of dollars in annual expenditure across African economies. These imports expose countries to price spikes, currency pressure, and external shocks. Geothermal power eliminates fuel dependency. Operating costs become predictable. Economic planning improves. Once geothermal plants are operational, electricity prices stabilize over decades rather than months. Governments gain fiscal breathing room. Central banks face less pressure during oil price surges. Public spending can be redirected towards social and economic development rather than energy subsidies. This shift also strengthens climate resilience. Climate change has exposed vulnerabilities in many renewable systems. Extended droughts weaken hydropower. Extreme weather disrupts solar and wind production. Geothermal energy is insulated from surface climate conditions. The heat source remains constant beneath the earth. As climate volatility increases, systems that offer reliability gain strategic value. Africa's geothermal reserves represent one of the most climate-resilient energy options available globally. This positions the continent not just as a participant in climate adaptation, but as a provider of solutions. Regional power interconnections further amplify this potential. With connected grids, geothermal-rich countries can export electricity to neighbors, creating new revenue streams and stabilizing regional supply. Energy trade strengthens economic integration and reduces conflict risk associated with power scarcity. The narrative begins to shift. Africa moves from being perceived primarily as an energy consumer to an energy supplier. Clean power exported regionally alters economic relationships. In a world transitioning away from carbon, this role becomes increasingly influential. Yet this transformation raises uncomfortable questions. If this energy has always existed, why was it ignored for so long? The reasons include risk aversion, historical investment bias, and underestimation of African capacity. Decisions about where capital flows often reflect perception as much as data. Now, successful projects are rewriting those perceptions. Returns are visible. Technology is proven. Competition is intensifying. Companies and governments that once hesitated are seeking entry points. This late rush fuels debate over control, ownership, and long-term benefit distribution. Who owns the power beneath African soil? Who profits from it? And who decides how it is used? Geothermal energy offers more than electricity. It offers autonomy. It offers stability. It offers a way to decouple economic growth from fuel imports and emissions. For a continent long constrained by external dependencies, this matters. The heat beneath Africa's surface has been building for millions of years. It was never created by modern investment or technology. What has changed is recognition. As drilling rigs arrive and turbines spin, the invisible resource becomes tangible. Africa's geothermal energy is not a future possibility. It is a present reality unfolding unevenly but decisively. Each successful project reinforces the same conclusion. The continent is not short of energy. It has been short of attention. That imbalance is correcting itself. What emerges from the ground is not just power, but a redefinition of Africa's place in the global energy system. Stable, clean, sovereign electricity reshapes economies and perceptions simultaneously. It challenges outdated narratives of dependency and scarcity. The underground energy jackpot is no longer hypothetical. It is measurable, operational, and expanding. As investment accelerates and development scales, Africa's geothermal resources stand positioned to influence global energy outcomes in ways few anticipated. The world may have ignored this heat for decades, but it can no longer ignore its impact. You've been watching Echoes of Africa, where every story carries the sound of tomorrow. If this moved you, subscribe now, like, and share so Africa's voice never fades into silence.